Welcome to Hoffman Auto Group's virtual training for Performance Review Basics and Completing Your Self-Review presented by the Talent Engagement Center. This virtual training consists of 5 key areas. 1. Why are we completing performance reviews? 2. What are the key points you should know about performance reviews? 3. What are some words or terminology that you might need to know? 4. Steps for the overall performance review process from start to finish. And 5, how to actually complete your self-review. Before we talk about key points and how to actually complete performance reviews, it's really important that you understand why, 1, we complete self-reviews at our organization, and 2, why we use ADP Workforce Now. Reason number 1 addresses why we use ADP Workforce Now. Number 1, this allows for more consistent reviews across the organization. Due to the fact that it is automated by a computer system, we can ensure that every employee receives a 90-day review as well as an annual review thereafter. Point number 2 is clearer communication and transparency. In our organization, employees are afforded the opportunity to tell their manager directly through a self-review not only how they performed, but also what their goals and aspirations in the organization are. This helps to ensure that lines of communication are open between an employee and their manager. In addition, managers will be fully transparent with their employees about how they performed in the last review period. Point number 3 is role effectiveness. Through ADP Workforce Now's performance management function, we are able to ensure that each position in the organization receives a unique review that evaluates each employee on their specific job functions and responsibilities. In other words, for example, a general sales manager receives a review designed specifically for a general sales manager. A lot attendant receives a review designed specifically for a lot attendant. This is the case for every position across the company. Before we get into talking about specifics, let's discuss some additional key points that are very important for you to understand. The review system is designed to focus on face-to-face conversation instead of pencil whipping, because employees have an opportunity to advocate for themselves by completing their self-review. This ensures that an employee's perspective is considered in the review process, which in turn ensures a more fair and balanced evaluation. Also, employees are not only reviewed on their job performance and development, they're also reviewed on their adherence to company values. This means that the organization is focusing on both meeting performance metrics as well as creating a healthy workplace culture. We'll talk about the steps and timeline for the performance review process later, but it's important for you to know that you'll receive notifications on the review process in the form of emails and messages to your ADP Workforce Now inbox. It is required that you are checking both of these places on a regular basis to ensure you are fulfilling your responsibilities when it comes to reviews. Next, you'll notice that employee self-assessment is bolded and in red because it's such an important step. Employees are required to complete their self-review before their manager can complete their portion of the evaluation. Again, remember, this ensures that an employee's perspective is taken into consideration throughout the process. And last but not least, it's important to know that the review process includes development-based questions. Your responses to these questions, along with a manager identifying your key strengths and areas of development, will comprise your development plan. This slide will discuss terminology or words and vocabulary that you should be aware of prior to completing your review. There are 2 main sections of your performance review. The first includes competencies. Competencies are something that you will rate yourself on and something that your manager will also rate you on. Competencies will always be orange. The second section are questions. Questions will always be blue and are things that you and your manager will answer that will eventually go towards your development plan. Right now, you are looking at a visual representation of what you will later see when we look at a performance review. Competencies, again, are always orange and are located in the top half of the slide, and questions, again, are always blue. They're on the bottom half of the slide. 3 more phrases for you to keep in mind are 1. Self-review, where an employee assesses their own performance and submits their ratings to their manager. 2. The manager review. That's where the manager reviews the employee after evaluating the following criteria: overall job performance based on data, adherence to company values, and an employee's self-review. And 3. A development plan. That's a plan established by a manager to develop an employee based on their career aspirations. Because of the fact that our performance review process not only focuses on developing an employee and their job-related functions, but also reviews employees on their adherence to company values, it's important that you know what the Hoffman Way is. The Hoffman Way is comprised of 3 segments that describe the overall values, leadership actions, and communication that guide us into creating a culture that both employees and customers leave delighted from. The 3 sections are 1. Our leadership action plan, 2. Our leadership communication action plan, and 3. Our Wheels culture. This presentation will spend some time going over our Wheels culture because each component of our Wheels culture will be included in your review. WHEELS is an acronym that stands for winning, hard work, energized, elite, loyal or allegiance, and service. These are the 6 pillars or company values that guide us each and every day as we work towards an awesome workplace culture. Let's talk about each more specifically. The first is winning. Winning is delivering results, exceed your goals, crossing the finish line first, together. One key word in winning is together. If we aren't working as a team, we'll never achieve our goals. H stands for hard work, a key ingredient to winning. Lead by example. Give 100% every day while maintaining a healthy lifestyle. It's important that our employees work hard each and every day. It's equally important that our employees have a healthy work-life balance. Next is energized. Bring a positive, can-do, and motivated attitude to work each and every day. The second E is for elite. We want to be the best of the best, individually and as a team. It's important to keep in mind that customers have a lot of options for where they do business. We need to ensure that we are giving a best-in-show experience to each and every customer so that they continue to come back to us. Next, L is for loyal or allegiance. That means we're willing to make personal sacrifices for the Hoffman team to ensure we deliver the best for our customers. An example of a sacrifice might be a master technician taking time out of his or her day to show a less experienced technician how to complete a job. This is obviously a sacrifice because, again, it takes time away from the master technician. But it's important because the less experienced technician is getting developed, which means they can complete the job on their own next time. This is just an example of one sacrifice that likely happens on a daily basis in our organization. I'm sure you can think of other sacrifices that you've made or that employees have made for you. And last, S is for service. We hold ourselves accountable for delivering a 5-star experience for both customers and teammates every time, every day. Later in the training, you'll see how all 6 of these company values are integrated into your performance evaluation. And finally, before we pull up a review and actually complete it, let's talk about the overall performance review process steps. Step 1. When you start your new role, your manager will enter SMART goals for you into ADP Workforce Now. Step 2. On your 90th day in your new role, a notification is going to be sent to you. This notification means that you are able to open up ADP Workforce Now and, step 3, complete your self-review. When you complete your self-review, you will then, step 4, submit it to your manager. Next, your manager will pull it up and, step 5, complete your review. Once they are done completing it, they will, step 6, submit it back to you. This means that you can see everything that you've written and everything that your manager has written before step 7, a face-to-face discussion about the review occurs between you and your manager. After the face-to-face discussion, the final step is to acknowledge the performance review in ADP Workforce Now, and then the process will start all over again. Your manager will enter SMART goals for the following review period. Now that you understand the background around our performance review process, let's log into ADP Workforce Now and actually complete a self-review. The first step is to visit workforcenow.adp.com. The web address is located in the upper left-hand corner of your screen right now. You'll log in with the user ID and password that you created during new hire orientation. If you're unable to remember your user ID or password, click Forgot User ID/password, which is a self-service link that'll allow you to reset either one. Once you're logged in, you'll be looking at a screen that looks just like this. This is our organization's ADP Workforce Now homepage. The first thing that you'll do is click Myself on the top dark blue toolbar. This is going to drop a menu down with more options. From there, select Talent, and then select Performance Dashboard. Your Performance Dashboard screen will look like this. Take note of a couple of things. In the middle of the screen, you will always be able to see who your performance review is being conducted by. To the right, you'll see a button that either says Start Now if you have never opened the review, or says Continue if you have. Click Start Now or Continue to open up the review window. Your performance review screen will look very similar to this. This performance review has 13 competencies. Remember, those are the orange boxes. Has 3 questions. Those are the blue boxes. And has 1 goal. Let's take a look at an example. The first example we'll look at is competency number 1. Competency number 1 is a job-related competency. It says, monitors the effectiveness of training on employees using individual and group performance results. This job-based competency is pulled from a role description. First, I will think about just this one competency and my own performance in this area. Then, I will click the drop-down menu and select my rating. In this example, I'm selecting meets expectations. And after that, I will fill in this box to tell my manager why I deserve the rating of meets expectations. Here's an example of what a response might look like. I believe I meet this expectation. In the past year, I have worked with both individual employees as well as larger groups to identify areas of improvement in both sales and fixed operations. For example, when I identified that 15% of brand specialists across the organization had not received any formal sales process training, I worked with an in-house sales expert to provide this training for employees. After I've completed both my text as well as selected a rating, I will always click Save after completing a box. Now that I've clicked Save, I can scroll down and complete the remaining job-based competencies the same way as I completed the first example. Let's also look at an example of a Wheels culture competency. This one is competency 9 that says, energized at Hoffman means being a positive team player with a can-do attitude. Again, I click the drop-down menu and select my response, then complete the box. Here's an example of what a Wheels culture competency response might sound like. I feel as though I meet this expectation. This is the company value that informs our mindset around challenges and obstacles. I have worked on a number of different projects which have presented different challenges. Whenever I'm faced with a challenge, I am sure to think constructively and how to overcome it and how to be a solutions-oriented person. One example of this is how I approached and eventually overcame challenges that the coronavirus pandemic presented on our performance review process. Instead of becoming negative because our process was adversely affected, I formulated a strategic plan to get our review process back on track while re-engaging and retaining employees. Now, we have multiple departments who have completed the full performance review process. I could not have reached this outcome by being negative. Before scrolling down to the questions, I want to be sure that I've completed each box and click Saved after each box. Once I'm sure that I've selected a rating and completed a response in each orange competency box, I'm ready to move on to the blue questions. Remember, the blue questions are focused on you and your development. There is no right or wrong answer, and there is no rating to select. Let's take a look at what a couple of questions might look like on your review, as well as how you may respond to them. Question number 1 is about long-term goals. What are your longer-term 3+ year career goals? Your response might be, work to become a Lexus Master Certified Technician and support in the training and development of less experienced technicians in the Lexus service department. Question number 2 is about short-term career goals. In this section, please explain your short-term career goals. What are your near-term 1 to 3 year career goals? Your response might be, increase my weekly flagged hours by 5% while retaining top quality work, no comebacks, and build a stronger professional relationships. After I complete the questions, I scroll down further until I see green boxes. Green boxes are for your goals. Just like with the competencies and questions, I will first read the goal, then I will select a rating and complete a response in the text box. I'll do this for each goal until I complete it, click Save, and scroll down to the final portion of my performance review. The final portion is the summary. There's a couple of things that you should know about the summary. Whatever rating you select as your overall rating on your summary is sort of like your final score. If you select, for example, meets expectations, you're telling your manager that overall, in the last review period, you felt as though you met expectations. Here's an example of how you might complete your summary box. In this example, I've selected my overall rating as exceeds expectations. Here's what it says in my overall comments box. In the past year, I have exceeded expectations. You will see my specific comments in the competencies and goals sections above, but on an overall level, I think that I've worked hard to meet deadlines, complete projects, reach goals, and do it all while maintaining a positive and professional attitude. I feel as though I am truly learning and growing in my role. I understand that I still have a lot to learn, but I am working to close skill gaps quickly and continue to get accustomed to my department's processes. I look forward to what the next year holds. And finally, we're at the last step. After I've completed my summary comments, I will click Save. I will go back to the top of my review and review all of my responses and make sure that I'm satisfied with them. When I am, I will scroll all the way to the bottom of the review window and click the green Submit button. When I do this, my performance review will be sent over to my manager. This fulfills my responsibility for my self-review.